Hey, everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of a brand new series, Behind the Curtain. We are super excited to be back and we have a lot to share with you. So, what we're going to do in this series is go through all the things that can hold us back, that can trip us up, that we can become blocked from creating what we're called to create, from walking in our purpose, from making that change, making that transition, stepping out. Building the new thing, doing the new thing, all of that. And so we're going to be talking about things like fear, going first, paranoia, imposter syndrome, control, overwhelm, pride, jealousy, failure, all the things. We have a whole list of topics that we've developed, and we're just so excited to share it with you. And this first one is fear. So I felt prompted to record this on fear this very week. And so there's no mistake that you're listening to this. And so this one's for you. And I can't wait to hear hopefully how it encourages you, how it inspires you, how it reignites courage so that you can keep going. And so let's talk about fear. I think that fear is a spirit. And I think that it can run rampant in our minds, in our hearts, in our communities. I think it can destroy a lot of things. And I actually think it's pretty dangerous. And so, how do we face fear? How do we combat fear? How do we keep it from holding us back? So, you might think of fear when it comes to something as simple as heights or flying or leaving somewhere or staying somewhere, staying too long, a fear of too much, not enough, fear of being left behind, alone, abandoned, fear of what's to come or not knowing what's to come, a fear of seeing the reality of a situation or ourselves, a fear of failure, a fear of not being enough or loss or catastrophe happening, or fear of even just being bored or complacency or lack or transparency, right? There are so many things that we can get caught up on, and it looks different for each one of us. And the thing about the fear is that it can consume it, and it can almost threaten to swallow us if we let it. It's kind of like that feeling of like the walls closing in on you. And I think it can really create some outcomes that we don't want. So it might look like you didn't move when you wanted to, or what you knew you should do, you didn't do, and you held back. Or maybe you got stuck, you just had no words, you were silent, and it felt like your voice was taken away. You were just at a loss for what to do or how to move. You froze. Or maybe you felt boxed in or trapped by a situation or backed into a corner or paralyzed. Maybe you feel some of this right now. Maybe there's narratives playing in your head. So every time you go to think about doing that new thing or stepping out, you hear these voices in your mind. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your grandparents, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's, anybody, your coworker, anybody in your circle. You're hearing some narrative in your mind, and it might not even be true, by the way, or what they think at all. But that's what fear does. It seeks to attach to these things and play on them and really make them big in your mind. It might feel like you're confused or you have a fog or a lack of clarity come over you every time you go to do that thing. That's a mark of fear. These things are all marks of fear, and fear is a spirit. So a spirit can, if you think about that, it can permeate throughout your being, right? And so the result of this fear that wants to attach to us, our ideas, our plans, our relationships, to cause ultimate chaos and confusion, we have to not agree with it. I'll get into that in a minute. But I think the result is that we can become just more self-focused because our world is getting smaller, because we're just thinking about the fear and how we're not going to do this new thing and why we're not going to do this new thing. And so this is what I mean when, I'm just talking about how it can plague your mind, your heart, and your very soul. It can just ring loudly in your ears, like voices shouting in your mind that maybe aren't even true, causing you to play it safe, shrink back, stay quiet, freeze, run from it, quit, leave before it's time, stay too long, or hold on to things that aren't meant for you. So when I got thinking about this, the thing about this fear is that while a situation or circumstance we may face may be real and we might be feeling some fear about it, what's underneath the fear is all a facade. It's a smoke and mirrors type of show. And the thing about this is that nobody wins except for the fear itself. So don't let it. You have a choice. And the cost of fear is great, right? But the reward of fear is nothing. That's what I thought about. That's what came to me. The cost of fear is great, but the reward of fear is nothing. It's hollow and it's deceptive. So when we see it for what it is, we can think about it like this. Has operating in fear really ever helped you? And I don't mean operating in discernment or caution or using wisdom. That's a different thing. That's taking a pause when you feel like you need to, or it's necessary, or, operating in discernment. If you have just a gut feeling that something's not right, listening to that, that is wisdom, right? Operating in fear is different. Fear causes knee-jerk reactions, immediate responses that are driven by this spirit of fear that's in us. So that causes us to make decisions that we normally wouldn't make. We're not thinking rationally. And there's science behind that. I'm sure, you guys have heard the science of, fight or flight, freezing, paralyzation, all those things. So what we want to do is recognize it. And we want to look at how it's showing up in each season of our lives. Because in different seasons, it'll show itself in different ways. And it'll try to attach to anything it can. Like I said, it'll try to attach to our ideas, our friendships, relationships, our businesses, right? Our purpose or our calling. So I want you to just think about each of those things and think through, where is the spirit of fear trying to enter into my life today? What is it attempting to attach to? And how am I going to say today that it's the end of the road for that fear that has been operating and running in my mind day and night? How am I going to see it for what it is? And sooner or later, it'll overplay its hand. You'll have that moment where you're like, nope, this is fear. This is not wisdom. This is not discernment. This is not caution. This is a spirit of fear. And it's causing me to be foggy or to not operate in who I really am. And I'm going to shut it down. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop holding false beliefs. I'm going to stop listening to the narratives. I'm going to stop seeing a situation in a view of distortion, because I really think that fear distorts our lens. It's a thief of time, joy, presence, and more. And the hours spent worrying hold no value, zero value. Think about all the hours you've spent maybe in your life worrying about a particular situation. Just be free from that today. Let go of that today. Send it packing, because now that you see it, you can leave it behind. And this is the greatest thing about it. So if you want to journal, if you want to kind of process this a little bit, is there anywhere that fear has been plaguing your mind? You can just list it out here. You can speak it out. You can pause this and speak it out if you want to, or think it. And watch how it changes before your very eyes as you speak it out or write it out or come to the realization, come to grips with it. The facade behind that fear can leave. That's the most beautiful part about it. As soon as we call it out, as soon as we turn the flashlight on, it runs, the spirit of fear. It can't exist anymore. And that's why it's a facade. That's why it's a smoke and mirrors show. But in the meantime, it looks so big, like this big monster, right? Until we're able to uncover it. And so I would encourage you to, like, any subtle ways, any subtle fears that can creep in. Those are the tricky ones. So don't let it operate. And here's a couple of things you can do as we walk away. And then we're going to end this episode with a declaration if you want to declare it. So a couple things that you can do to combat fear, if this is something you're struggling with right now, the spirit of fear. The first thing is recognize the source. Recognize the sources in your life, the things that produce fear. So where are you in a situation or a business, or maybe it's with yourself, stepping into something or a dynamic recognize the sources that produce fear in you. So I want you to take a minute to recognize those and then pay attention to your words. Pay attention to the words that you're speaking out, because more than ever, especially over the last few years, because I've really seen this tangibly and with some of the things that we have walked through, your words matter. They are very important. The words that you're speaking over yourself to others around you hold weight. And I think there's something so much bigger than us. And I really think that these words matter. So pay attention to the words that you're speaking to yourself and to others. And don't let fear enter in and cause you to speak words that aren't true. And the third thing is kind of related to this. Don't agree with fear. What I've realized a lot is that, and I've seen this and I've also experienced it myself, is that when we come into agreement with fear, oh my God, this always happens. This is going to happen again. It's going to happen again. Here we go. That's coming into agreement with fear. How do you know that the outcome is not going to be good this time? How do you know that the outcome is not going to be different this time? And I truly believe that not coming into agreement with that fear impacts the outcome. So that's paying attention to your words and then not coming into agreement with a place of fear. It doesn't mean ignoring reality. There's a difference there. You can still use caution and wisdom and discernment, but you cannot partner with the smoke and mirror show of fear. And then the last thing is look up and get out, because you get perspective. Seek truth. So look up to something much bigger than you to get perspective. There's a whole world out there. There's a whole universe out there, right? And fear wants to keep us trapped and small and in our own minds and in our own little circle that we can't get out of, the swirl, right? And so when you look up and when you look out, you get perspective. So do that. Who is the person or the people in your life that help you get perspective? You can do that today. And I'm going to finish this episode, and I hope to do this for all of these episodes. This is part of the second book that I'm writing. It's called Unblocked, Finally Free. And there's a lot of personal stories behind this that hopefully will be shared one day. But there's real depth here. I just want you to know that everything that I'm sharing on, I have walked through. And of course, I'm always walking through, right? Because we're all human and we always walk through things daily. And so I really wanted to end this with declarations for you to be able to declare this if it's something that you feel like you're struggling with. And so I'm just going to read it out loud, and I'm also going to put it in the show notes. So the declaration is: fear, I choose not to partner with you anymore. I'm not bringing you with me, but leaving you here. You cost me too much time, energy, resistance, and space. I'm moving forward in a new way. And when I feel you trying to creep in, I'm going to guard the gates of my mind and heart and recognize you for what you really are. I no longer partner with your lies, false narratives, and distortion of situations. Ooh, that felt so good. I love it. Okay. So this is going to be in the show notes for you. I appreciate every single one of you for listening in and following the journey. And as always, for more, you can head to storywork.co. There's all kinds of things going on. There's the Business Builder, which is the 7-week process where we walk alongside of you as you're transitioning, as you are creating new things. There's the New Way, which is weekly encouragement that's faith-filled and goes pretty deep. So there's also that for you to check out. Stay tuned because there's always more coming. Thanks so much.